I wanted to use this as an opportunity to talk about how tragedy can make us very what's the word I'm looking for? Irrational. I'm off social media for a little while, not only because, like I said, personal matters when it comes to, you know, speaking about this type of stuff, and also situations like Nipsey Hussle. Hearing a bunch of conspiracy theories is just the last thing I needed when somebody is already confirmed in their situation, right? The last thing I want to kind of make me feel better is someone saying that, oh, he was doing a documentary, so that's why they got him, or oh, this was an inside job, or that's why they got him. Seeing that type of stuff just makes me angry, because not only are you trying to make it seem like that's gonna soften the blow or make it better when it won't, you're completely ignoring the fact that this type of thing happens on a very regular basis, and the fact that regardless of how good the man was and regardless of how great he was doing for his community, that didn't grant him immunity or some type of immortality card that a lot of you guys tend to give your favorite rappers. This can happen just to any single person, and people just don't like to acknowledge that fact that people just aren't as safe as they're portrayed. I would love for him to still be here, but we're not going to act like this is a brand new situation that has only happened to him. I think the idea that this has to be a conspiracy ties to my point that people look at these artists like they're immortal, like they can't be touched. Because if this was any other person, random guy on the street, nobody would be thinking, "Oh, there had to be a planned attack against him." But that's besides the point. Nipsey Hussle suspect Eric, I believe Holder is his name, is who they've got in custody. Turns out the guy presented himself as a rapper before he did whatever it was that he did. Nipsey apparently confronted him as a person who is a known informant and told him to get out of there. Dude got in his feelings, came back, pow pow. That's what happened. Young Thug took to Twitter or took to some of his social media not long after to say, if we'd have done our jobs and kept to the G code, this situation may not have happened. And I do 100% agree with him, though I'm not advocating for street violence. If you do ask, or if you are inducted into that lifestyle, you do have to abide by the rules of that lifestyle. And a rule of that lifestyle is not becoming a fucking informant. So if they were doing their job and abiding by street code and G code, this guy might not be there anymore and this situation might not have happened. But it's the world we're in right now. I can't do hypotheticals. I can just go by what we have right now. I do agree with Young Thug and I do share the pain and the hurt of all this, but this just the conspiracy and trying to make it seem like this is way bigger than it actually is. The person it happened to is way bigger, but the thing itself happens all the time, unfortunately. And I can literally attest to that. Dude's in there on a $7 million bond. 10% of that, I don't even think anybody he knows would even be willing to pay that to get him out. So I don't even think he would want to be out on bail because that would put him in even more danger. Rapper Tech9 passed also, I believe, sometime last week. Now, here's the situation that we're in, right? Tech9 is a battle rapper from Philly. I don't know if you guys are familiar with him, but I caught glimpses of him earlier on in my life at random moments when I was browsing the YouTube scene. But I did catch his spirit, his bravado, the showmanship that he was, I guess, in. Less of a bar heavy guy, but more of a, I guess, a guy that I won't even say hype man. It was just like the theatrics. He was very theatrical, right? So I can see why so many people fell in love with him, fell in love with his thing, his niche. Like, this is what he does. You know, he's a certain type of battle rapper, not your just average or your traditional one. But I saw a lot of people sharing their sentiments saying RIP, you know, prayers go out to his family and everything like that. Cool. I was refraining from doing that. And I only refrained from doing that because I was aware of something that no one seemed to be talking about prior to his actual demise. And the thing I'm talking about, the thing I'm discussing here is he was facing charges of child pornography and sexual assault. And so maybe I can give some publications and a lot of people that decided to keep this information from their RIPs, maybe I can give them the benefit of the doubt and say maybe they didn't know. But I'm very curious to see if they'll come back with an update this time around, or they'll come back with an update in a couple weeks and say, hey, we weren't aware of this when we said RIP, but just so you know, XYZ happened, and we just wanted to put that information out there. Because battle rapper Tech9 passed in his sleep, it had a lot of people wondering how. How did it happen? Because it doesn't make sense that this dude would just pass conveniently the day before his court date. So the consensus now is that he took his own life prior to his court date because he knew that he was guilty, because he knew that this situation would have been hard to get out of. And I don't know if that's true or not, but I do know that I've seen his court documents, I've seen the court papers, and this is something that I don't know why hip hop constantly moves like a Catholic church. Hip hop and the people who love hip hop tend to move within hip hop as if saying something or speaking out against someone that has influence or some type of power somewhere and or respect is like taboo. Like if you say something, you're like a whistleblower or you're doing something wrong. And this is why R. Kelly got away with what he got away with for so long, because so many people were watching him and purposefully not saying anything. I won't even just say the music, I won't even just say hip hop, even though I do see it primarily in hip hop. I'll say the music industry, because they see things and they refuse to say anything. I'm legitimately serious when I say they move like a Catholic church, because these pastors, these popes, these people in the upper echelons, these upper classes that you think are supposed to have a higher moral responsibility or obligation, you're like, oh wow, they're doing this, and then the information comes out and you see all these stories and nothing ever happens. They're still in their position, they still get to do whatever they want to do. And hip hop and the music industry works in a very similar fashion. The fact that this dude had a public case going for child pornography and all I heard was rest in pieces as opposed to can you answer these questions is alarming to me. It's telling. It lets me know that yes, to a degree, we do accept people for their mistakes. We do accept people in their imperfection. We do look at people as if they have their issues prior to. But where does it stop? Where do you start looking at people as accountable adults that should face what it is that they do versus problematic pasts that act as justifications for any of their future misdoings? When do we cut it off? When do we say this is enough, or this is a little bit too much, or this is a little bit too far? When do we say, okay, nah? I just find it very hard to believe that so many people covered this and talked about rest in peace this, rest in peace that, but no one knew that this dude had this. He was facing these heinous charges. No one knew. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I believe people intentionally look over shit for people that they have respect for or people that they know are viewed in a certain light, and they overlook it. I'm just really curious to see if anybody's gonna say anything about this. Don't get me wrong. Loved Tech9, loved him as a battle rapper, loved what he was doing, but I don't get it. Man, I know he's already in the ground, but I am asking you, where do you stand? And if this situation is true and you believe he took his own life prior to his court date, how do you view him now? Do you view that as like the easy way out? Do you view that as cowardice? How do you view that? Is there going to be a mental illness justification made for him now? I don't know. But I do know hip hop generally has an issue facing issues as a collective and saying this is not okay as it's happening. It's always in hindsight where we look at something that already happened and say, well, yeah, that was bad. Never does it happen in real time. Never does it happen to people that are currently doing something in the music era. The last thing I had to talk about today was the Lil Uzi Vert versus Goldlink thing. A lot of people were telling me about this because he released his track Free Uzi. I'm definitely very happy for Uzi. I told y'all he wasn't retiring because he was just in a depressed mind state because his label was on some bullshit. But I look at this situation and Goldlink accuses Uzi of stealing his flow after he hears his new track Free Uzi. And I heard the track was okay, but as the track is concerned, or as far as I'm listening to the track, I didn't hear anything in the song that was so far beyond what Uzi had done in the past. I didn't see anything beyond what Uzi had already created that this song needed to be accused of a flow theft. And I don't even get what flow theft is anymore, you know? For a little while when I first started listening to like more mainstream parts of hip hop, you can understand, okay, yeah, there's certain references or certain things that you can get and you can make a direct correlation between this flow, these lyrics, these lyrics. Got it. But when does it become I purposefully sought out to look at this dude's flow, copy it, and make it mine versus we're just rapping in a similar fashion? Maybe there's so many rap songs out there that at some point you can't move forward without having used someone's flow at a certain time in your career. You can't I don't get how you can be a rapper and not at one point utilize a flow that's already been used. You can't accuse every single person that uses a flow similar to you and then say, "Oh yeah, you're still in my flow." Like that doesn't make sense. You can't claim a flow. Claiming a flow is like claiming words. You spoke like me. You used a speedy delivery. That's mine. You can't. How does that sound? I don't think you can claim anything that's universally used and make it your own. I don't think you can do that. Like technically I could rap. I could start rapping and I can use a flow and that flow be reminiscent of a Goldlink quote unquote flow or DC quote unquote flow. I can't be You can't copyright it, you can't claim it, you can't own it. It's obviously you can have a voice, obviously you can have a certain tone, a certain vocal inflection, and you can develop a certain style. But there's no rapper that even raps to this day that's maintained the exact same flow from start to finish. And I'm not saying that experimenting absolves them of any kind of accusation, but what I am saying is I'd be a little slower to jump the gun and say this person's stealing from me specifically because they're using a flow that probably everybody in the rap game has used before or other people that you might not even know have used. I just find it odd to make that accusation in today's era when there's so much recycling going on. I don't really see how you can make the argument that people are purposely stealing flows. I don't see it. And if you did make that argument and you wanted to hold yourself to that standard, half the hip hop game right now will be gone. I don't know. You let me know where you stand on it. Do you think rappers are stealing flows? And if they are, do you think they should stop? And do you think that the theft, quote unquote, of flows are what's keeping hip hop stale or preventing it from moving forward or anything? Or do you think that's exactly what's keeping it pushing? Let me know. But that's it for the video. Thank you for watching. Let me know all your thoughts and opinions on the topics that we've discussed today. I felt like I was in my bag today, just in life. I feel a little bit better, but not there yet. Thank you for watching, though, and I'm out. Peace.